Hello and welcome back to another episode of Football. I'm your host, as always, Gerardo. Got my co-host with me, Tomas, and we got some UCL ball that we want to talk about. The first match day of the UEFA Champions League. This new format of the UEFA Champions League just went down. We saw quite some surprises, some surprise nil-nils as well. Before we get into it, make sure you guys subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. All the links will be down below. Tomas, how you doing today, bro?
Just chilling, bro. Right here in a little office, chilling. Yeah,
What do you feel about this new format after we just kind of see it play out a little bit? Are you happy with some of the matchups that we got? There were some big games: Milan, Liverpool, City, Inter, Madrid, Stuttgart, Barca, Monaco. There were some really impressive matches just from the get go.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I think this format's shit, but that's my opinion. I mean, what else you want me to say? It's
It's only match day one, bro.
yeah, exactly, and I already don't like it.
Why? Why don't you like it?
It's just how is there any benefit for the small clubs?
I mean, a team like Brest, for example, they sneaked themselves into the UEFA Champions League, making history. Just an example.
And what like
Stuttgart, who typically probably they wouldn't qualify for a Champions League. I think they got like fourth or fifth in Bundesliga. They're a small club. They got their performance in the. I mean, given the results, but we'll talk about that later on. But they were able to perform in the Champions League.
the thing with the prior format was you were able to get an A level team, a B level team, a C level team, and a D level team in a group. And obviously, the A level team was going to advance, but between the C and the B, you had that possibility of the C team advancing, or even there was even cases where the D level team would advance. And now in this format, how is that ever going to be a possibility?
The only thing I would take away from this whole new format is how I feel like it might hurt the small teams going like okay, so put into context the performance between Real Madrid and Stuttgart. Stuttgart, they don't have that opportunity to play at home and possibly get a win against a team like Real Madrid. Like they play Real Madrid away and that's it. Now you're never gonna face them, at least in this league format, unless you face them later on in like quarters or semifinals. But I mean, in this instance, I mean, it compared to the recent format or the old format, if you want to see it as that way, they would have had the home and away match. So I guess I see where you're saying what you're saying regarding how it might not benefit small teams, but I mean, I feel like the inclusion of a few extra teams does help some like more visibility at least of these small teams.
All right, look, let's look at Stuttgart's schedule. They got Prague at home and they got Juventus away. Would you want this schedule?
If I'm Stuttgart,
Yes. You got Juventus away, you had Real Madrid away, and you get Sparta Prague at home.
Prague, I mean, I'd be happy taking Prague at home because I mean, Stuttgart is a team that can very well hurt Prague.
So you would rather have Prague at home than have Real Madrid or Juventus at home.
I'm not saying I would want either or. I'm just saying, like, I mean, if I have the possibility, you have a higher probability of beating Prague at home than Juventus or Madrid currently at home.
The thing is that the result that you need is Juventus and Madrid, and it's easier to get a result at home than away.
But the thing is, too, like, remember, only okay, top 8 qualify automatically.
Yep.
But from 9 to 24, I mean, bro, some teams that lost just this first match day are still in that like 24th, 23rd, 22nd spot. Like Barca's still in there. They lost their match. So it makes it a little excusable to kind of mess up, which is the kind of the bad part about this new format. Because in the past format, if you lose 1 or 2 games, you're basically out. You have to win at least 3 games.
The thing is, it's the same amount of matches. Still eight.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the consistency is of the matches, and I mean the difficulty of the matches definitely matter as well.
I think right now it's more difficult because look, Stuttgart plays Real Madrid, Stuttgart plays Juventus, and they play Atalanta. These are three, like I'd say Juventus and Real Madrid historically are A teams. I'd say Juventus right now is a B team. But Atalanta, another B team, instead of playing that C tier level team that you would probably play in a group format. I mean, this is this is much more difficult than any how would I say any time in the Champions League football ever
Mhm.
for a small team.
I guess I get what you're saying. I don't completely agree with it. Because I mean, so far I like from what I've seen this first match. I mean, especially the very first day, the debut of this format. I mean, it was raining goals. So I mean, we could start there. We could start with what happened today, but we've seen a lot of goals in this Champions League start so far. And and a lot of interesting matchups. I mean, just to throw one of my favorite matchups, I'd probably have to say maybe that mm, Milan versus Liverpool was a good one. That's probably I'd probably put that as my top one. You have a favorite one that you'd like so far?
My favorite one's been probably Barcelona, Monaco, for sure.
That one was a surprise. So we'll definitely touch
And
on every single um big result that we've seen so far. I guess we can start off in Turin with Juventus and PSV. So Chucky Lozano's there, Richie Ledesma starting as well. I think Chucky Lozano was actually on the bench, or maybe not included because I think he might have had a minor injury. But Juventus under Thiago Motta, they've kind of started to resurge a little bit, playing a lot more attractive football, and they showed out. I mean, this kid Yilmaz, the Turkish international, put up an absolute beauty for the first goal in this new format. And it was like top left banger, hits the bar, bounces in. Alessandro Del Piero esque, right? And then Nico Gonzalez gets on the score sheet. Weston McKinney, the U.S. men's international, also gets on the score sheet. And overall, I mean, Juventus were cruising. It was just a vintage display of Juventus football. I mean, you could probably even throw it back to like that 20, well, the like early 2000 or no, late 2010s Juventus team. Well, at least from what I saw. And then they did get scored on towards the end of the game, but it's kind of already wrapped up by then.
yeah,
But go ahead.
just I feel like this was an expected performance from Juventus
Mhm.
coming into the fact, not maybe how they completely played the last 2 seasons, but definitely in the fact of their starting lineup. I mean, it's still one of the stronger teams in Italy, and obviously PSV, although they are one of the stronger teams in Netherlands. Netherlands is well, it's like a B level league compared to
Yeah.
Italy, La Liga, and Premier League.
Definitely, and Juventus showed that
Yeah,
100%. They dominated from the first moment to almost the very last if they didn't get that last goal scored on them. But overall, Juventus starting off on the right foot. Moving on to Switzerland, I believe, where Young Boys faced off against Aston Villa. Aston Villa completely thumped Young Boys, bro. Just 3-0 dominant display of football in their first UEFA Champions League game in about 44 years. And I think the key takeaway from this is this fucking Colombian guy, John Duran. I think he played in the MLS. I forgot exactly what team he played for. I don't know if it was like Chicago Fire or he played in the MLS. Anyways, he comes to Aston Villa, and every single time he comes on, bro, he scores. I know you saw that goal against who was it? Was it Everton that he just bangs from like he recently scored on the weekend too. I think it might have been against Everton where it was like from like 30, 40 yards out. Just his technique on the ball is just insane. And I still don't know why he's not starting over Ollie Watkins. I mean, Ollie Watkins still scoring some goals. He had a difficult start in the first 3 matches, but John Duran, I mean, this guy is just unbelievable.
I
Technically,
think
unbelievable.
I think he's from Chicago Fire.
I think so too. I think so too. I can't
And then
remember.
another big thing with this guy is he's only like what 20 years old.
Is he really 20 years old?
I'm pretty sure because he was pretty young playing for Chicago Fire. I think he was like 18.
I mean, let me just like quickly double check that.
You could double check that, bro. But I know he looks older, and that's
Oh
what
yeah,
caught my.
you're right. You're right. You're right. He's 20 years old, bro.
Yeah, he's like 20 years old. Because I remember he was balling out at Chicago Fire when he was like 18, 19. So yeah, he's got to be at least 20. And I mean, like, I seen him at Chicago Fire. I knew he was a baller, but I was just like that. Maybe since we're so close to the MLS, we think of it as a money grab league. Like not that they're not a serious league, but don't put that much seriousness into development as other leagues usually do around the world. And I didn't know how he was gonna do in the Prem, but I mean, he's done great.
He's been
Yeah,
unbelievable, bro. Like
yeah,
you
he's been
cannot
crazy.
he can't stop scoring. And honestly, one of my favorite players to come on to see just coming off of the bench, you know he's gonna score. Within the first few touches, he'll at least bag one goal. So it's pretty insane to see so far. Um, and yeah, a historic night for Aston Villa, getting a good away win. Young Boys is not an easy team to play against, but they made it seem like it was. So now let's go to Milan versus Liverpool. Now this was an exciting matchup because I mean there's so much history between these two teams. I mean you can one of the most iconic finals
Done
ever
fun.
probably was this one, Milan versus Liverpool back in 05, 2005. Um,
I was
and
I was there, bro. I was there. I was watching it like Steven Gerrard. I had a Bobby on my side, and
Alonso.
we had I was watching him with Bobby Charlton. You know, we were talking about it the other day actually.
All right, Hendrik, relax, bro, relax. But overall, from this matchup, I guess the key takeaways are that while Milan started off really hot, their flames quickly just went out like that. Liverpool were way too strong, um, especially on the counter, just destroyed, and on set pieces too. They destroyed Milan. And another thing, Mike Mignon, he performed unbelievably well at the Euros, but for Milan, for whatever reason, he's just a shadow of his former self. He did, bro. Even in the 6 yard box, because there was two goals, one by Konate and one by Van Dijk, in that 6 yard box. And as every keeper knows, like that box is yours. Like you command that area, especially in set pieces. So you
Yeah,
cannot have a player just coming in scoring from that close. Like at least make it uncomfortable. And I mean, those are the two most comfortable set pieces I've ever seen Liverpool at least taken. If I mean, besides that set piece from Barcelona in like 2019, but but forget about that. We're not talking about Barcelona. Anyways, overall, Milan they started very well. Pulisic getting on the score sheet, scoring his like third goal this season, third goal all time against Liverpool within the first 4 minutes. But off of the set piece, I think Liverpool just completely changed the match. Mike Magnan, an absolute horror class, disaster class, whatever you want to call it. He even comes off injured, which is unfortunate. I mean, you don't want to see any keeper injured. I actually saw a tweet the other day saying that it might have been I forgot who it was, but saying I've never seen a injury prone goalkeeper. Mike Magnan, I don't know how many injuries he's picked up, but he's constantly injured. Like
nice.
at least
I seen the another meme where it was like Mike, like it was in Spanish. It was like Mike Pañan said, like se lesionó el. It was like el excusas derecho.
excusas derecho is crazy.
Like it's like how would I say it in English? It's like the
It's hard.
excuses left or like whatever. Like saying like
You can't literally
can't
translate
really
it. If you know,
translate it,
you
but
know. If you know, you know.
so it's
But
oh, it was excusas derecho or el pretexto izquierdo. And it was just like, I mean, like, damn, like maybe I don't know, but it was a little suspicious the game that he was having that he comes off injured. I don't doubt that he's injured, but it's
bro,
just that whole like
it's like those matches, you know, when you know you're playing bad. I mean, you've probably done this. I've probably done this. A lot of people have done this, where like you know you're playing bad. Maybe like you hit a maybe you fail a shot in front of the goalkeeper or something like that. You just pretend like you're injured, just like you know you got to go out because you don't want to make it seem like you know
nah.
you're
I've had
upset.
this. I've had this one where I was having a horror game. I think I missed like 3 sitters, and I hit the fucking ground, and the ref calls a penalty, and I just like limp off, acting like I'm like my foot fell off, and we got the penalty, and then the homie scored, and I mean, you know, I got credit for getting the penalty, but I kicked the shit out of the ground.
You know, you got to do what you got to do. But unfortunately, in this case, I mean, Mike Mignon didn't do anything at all. So a young kid comes on, the 19-year-old made his debut in the Champions League, Lorenzo Toriani. It was just a crazy threat. I want to throw in there. He was 3 months old when Milan and Liverpool played that iconic Champions League final. It was only 3 months when that whole thing went down. So to see a 19-year-old debuting in the Champions League, AC Milan, I just thought it was crazy. And then now Milan have the Derby de la Madonnina this weekend against Inter Milan. I think it's over for Paulo Fonseca, bro. Honestly, like I don't know why they got rid of who was the last manager for AC Milan?
It was what's his name?
Bald Pioli.
It was
Pioli.
yeah, it was Stefano Pioli, no?
Yeah,
Stefano Pioli. Yeah, I don't
Stefano.
know.
He wasn't that bad
It
at
wasn't
Milan.
bad.
To the last season, obviously not great, but
The season prior, I mean, he was.
he won a Scudetto with Milan.
Yeah, he won a
If I'm not
Scudetto.
mistaken.
I think he was. How many games was he away from making the final? Was he one game away?
Well, final Europa League.
No. Was it Europa League or Champions?
I don't remember them being close to making the Champions League final. To be honest,
They got eliminated by Inter Milan, no?
oh, in the Derby, yeah. But I don't think it was last Champions League. Maybe like two Champions
Like
Leagues.
two Champions League
The quarterfinals because there was like
City.
there was 4 Italian teams in the quarters.
Yeah,
It
it was Napoli, Atalanta, and then it was Inter and AC.
Mhm.
And then Napoli advance and Inter advance, and then
I remember that matchup. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they let him go. Paulo Fonseca, Portuguese manager. I don't know exactly where he came from before, but he has not gotten off at a really good start at Milan. And probably this is the most dreadful start in the Champions League for them, losing 3-1. I mean, and in the fashion where it's just completely embarrassing as well. I mean, I'm sorry, bro. They're cooked for this weekend. And I've heard rumors already that if they lose this matchup, this derby, he's out. He's out the door. And I think that's fair. I mean, losing against your biggest rivals is obviously disappointing, embarrassing as well. But then also losing at home against Liverpool, who just lost against Nottingham Forest at the weekend. Like, come on, bro.
yeah, I mean it's unfortunate. And the thing is, the management at AC Milan has to be questioned because you have a coach that takes you to a quarterfinal, which is decent. Okay, he wins his Scudetto in 21. He has a bump of a season in 22, but in 2023 he actually got second place. I mean, he's actually a few spots from actually winning it if he fucking knew how to. The thing that happened last year was the depth. The depth
Mhm.
fucked him over. Inter had the depth for to complete to compete champions, to compete in the cup, and to compete in the league. And Milan didn't have that. And although they had the depth issue, a couple of injuries, they were still able to get second place, bro. I mean, Champions League, that's Champions League football.
Yeah.
Because if we remember that Inter team ran the whole fucking league, it was like what, like a 20-point gap, 19-point gap,
19, I think.
and then it's like, what else do you want? Like, this was a fucking generational Inter team, and Milan gets second place, and you let go of your coach, and it's just like,
Now you're probably praying for him back, honestly.
they're probably I don't know if he's at another team. He probably is.
He's at Al Nassr right now, and he's in 7th place there right now. But they just started the league, so to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it might be the right move to go back to Italy.
Shit.
Maybe I'm speaking too soon, but that's what it's looking like.
Because who else is in the market for Milan? I mean, we could save that for another video, but who else what other world class managers
No
are?
other World Class manager.
There's one that, and I think I mean, let me see if you can guess it real quick. One world class manager that would probably go to Milan. They are in talks, or I heard the rumor that he might go. Let me see if you can, just like off the top of your head,
Let me just think.
from all the world class managers that are free right now. There's one. There's one, and I think if I told you his name, you'd be like, "Oh shit, yeah, it's a good shout."
Is he Italian?
No, it's German.
German.
Yeah, he's won the Champions League.
Did he just coach Chelsea?
He recently coached Chelsea. Is
So Tuchel.
Tuchel. Yeah, Thomas Tuchel. They're in conversations. I don't know how true it is, but hope maybe he can get them out of this mess, because this is not the way you want to start Champions League for Milan. Such a historical team, they shouldn't be getting humiliated 3-1 at the San Siro.
Thomas Tuchel, was he the coach that took PSG to the final or no?
He did take them to the final, yeah.
Take them to the final. He won it with Chelsea.
He won it with Chelsea. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's honestly that's the best option right now. Him or going back to what they had before.
It's between him or Jurgen Klopp, maybe. I mean, I'm not saying that Jurgen Klopp's going to come out of whatever sabbatical he's going through, but
The thing with
they're probably the top coaches that are out on the market right now.
yeah, I'd have to agree. But I mean, at least for Italian teams, they usually have this history of going for Italian coaches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's very common. But I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, this coach doesn't lose his job. But I feel like he's already even lost the confidence in every player that he has.
If there is already those murmurs that if he loses this game, which is already putting negativity out there, if he loses that derby at the weekend against Inter, which I think it's probably going to happen. Inter are very strong right now.
I mean,
I don't think there's any denying that he's probably going to be out by the end of this weekend. But anyways, a team that right now is, I guess you can say, flying. Maybe they have like a crooked wing or something, but they're still kind of like fluttering up in there. It's Madrid, and they faced a very difficult opponent in Stuttgart, especially those first 45 minutes. Stuttgart just ran the park with them, bro. They were incredible. And I loved watching how they played. They were not scared of playing Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. But as we already know, this is Real Madrid's competition. They love the Champions League. And even when all odds are against them, they will always come on top. Stuttgart had the opportunity to make it 2-3. Okay, maybe I'm pushing 4-0, but at least 2-3-0 if they wanted to. But Courtois, man of the match performance, to be honest. This is the reason why a world-class goalkeeper literally wins you championships, and Courtois has proved that already in the Champions League. And then, I mean, Mbappe gets on the score sheet. He scores his 49th UEFA Champions League goal ever, entering the top 10 of goal scorers of all time in this competition. And I think he's, 25 years old? 26, 25?
I think 20, 25.
So that's pretty crazy to talk about. There's the equalizer by Stuttgart. Dennis Undov gets on the score sheet. It's his first European match. Stuttgart's first European match in years. I mean, the last time they played was back in 2010, I think. That was the last time they played a UEFA Champions League competition. And then Rudiger scores from a corner kick. From a set piece. And then Endrick as well. And then we can talk about Endrick a little bit just because I think that goal was very iconic. Because I was watching
from, bro.
Huh?
The balls that he has to shoot from so far out.
Right, bro. That's exactly what I was thinking too. Like, what did you make of that play? Like, imagine yourself, bro. Like, you and me, even at this current age, let alone 18 years old, but you and me, we're running right at the box in the Champions League for Madrid. We can like put the cherry on the game. You have Vinny to your right and Mbappe to your left. You take it for yourself. Like, is that really what you're thinking? Like, between you and me, like, would you take it yourself or would you pass it to these two like Ballon d'Or contenders? Because I would tell you what I would do. I would feed it to the guys to my left, to my right, at 18 years old or even right now.
I think it's because like if I had the talent that Endrick has, well then maybe I'm like confident enough to take it myself.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, I remember playing college and dribbling down the middle, right? And I'm just like fuck what now? I have two defenders in front of me. I'm not gonna shoot from 30 yards out. Now I'll just poke it to the wing. So that's probably what I would do, poke it to the wing and come back in, maybe get the ball again.
The ball back.
But then not comparing them in any way, but my right winger was pretty good. He was really good dribbler, lefty, curve it into any corner. So I'm thinking, Mbappe and Vinicius probably gonna do the same thing. They're gonna do that no crafty move, cut in, cut out, fucking shoot. And I'm just thinking that's probably what I would do. Feed it to the talented winger. So it's like,
especially who's running with a little bit more like freedom, pace, not really marked by anyone.
Not only that, just the status that these two players hold.
Yeah, that's the big
Champions League winners.
That's a big part.
Champions League winner, World Cup winner. It's like, damn, like I wouldn't shoot, and he has the balls to shoot. Not even just that, two center backs in front of him, the goalie with the clear side of the ball, and he still fucking shoots and is able to bury it. Obviously, it helps that the ball comes down quickly, but it's still what a fucking banger, bro. What a fucking banger just off the distance.
The fact that Endrick coming on, in the last, I think it was a few moments of the match. He's been getting a few moments for Madrid, and I like that. A lot of people were like, "Oh, where is he going to fit in this team? Where is he going to get the minutes from?" There was like a little bit of pressure from his entourage to get a loan out in case he didn't get enough minutes. But Ancelotti has tried to give him his time, and he's done very well. He's performed in every single moment that he has gotten, besides maybe like one match, maybe like the first match. But I mean, to be fair, he's still young. He's 18 years old. But the fact that you come on for your UEFA Champions League debut, you score on your UEFA Champions League debut, and the fact that you have Vinny and Mbappe to your left, to your right, you take him from 30 yards out. I mean, to be honest, bro, I've seen enough. I already think he's better than Bobby Charlton, but that's just me. I don't know.
Bobby Charlton's class. There would be no Endrick if it wasn't for Bobby Charlton. Just think of it that way. But
look, okay, hold up. Before you get into it, should Endrick be starting in front of any of these three in the front, in front of Rodrigo, in front of Vinicius or Mbappe? I know you've been saying take out Mbappe, but right now Mbappe is scoring. He got a goal as well, so I don't know if you can really necessarily take him out if your star player is scoring.
The thing with what Endrick doesn't have, how would I say this? Mbappe has everything Endrick has, but Endrick doesn't have everything Mbappe has. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In terms of, yes, they're both talented. I mean, Endrick reminds me of a young Mbappe, just a lot shorter. But that's besides the fact. Because Mbappe at Endrick's age had the same ball as him, shooting from the fucking middle of the field with Monaco. Just that fucking 2016 Champions League campaign that he had, which was insane. The thing is that Mbappe was at Monaco, so he was starting. Endrick is at the biggest club in this competition. So I think it's fine for him to come in, last 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is, and closing strong. Because Real Madrid is that club that likes to have strong depth on their bench, especially in the Champions League. So, I mean, Endrick's that perfect complement where he's young, he's learning, and he's still physically fit and mentally strong enough to have the balls to take these fucking shots and be able to close out a game.
I just think it's so insane to do it from 25 yards out because he had the chance to at least take it an extra 5 yards in front of him if he wanted to. But he just thought that was the perfect distance. And when I first saw him line up for the shot, I was like, no way he's going to shoot. Or I thought he was going to get saved. I didn't think he was going to miss it. I just thought it was going to get saved from the goalkeeper. But I mean, the goalkeeper could have done a lot better. But I mean, kudos to him. He got his goal.
Yeah, and that's just what I think. I mean, sit the bench, come in as a revulsivo, come in as that player that closes out a game. And 21, 22 is going to be fucking starting for the best team in the world.
Yeah. So far he's fulfilling his role, and I think he's doing it perfectly well. Bayern Munich versus Dinamo Zagreb. This is a record match. Firstly, because the last time Bayern Munich played a team in blue and red, and with this scoreline was Barcelona back in 2020. But the fact, the difference between those two matches that now it's official. This is now officially the most a team has ever scored. I think, and I think the biggest scoreline in a Champions League match, and I think it's also the biggest scoreline or the biggest. I'm just trying to figure out how to word this. My bad. I'm having a brain fart.
Favor or what?
Well, the fact that Bayern Munich scored 9 goals is the most goals that the most goals that a club has ever scored in the Champions League in just one game. 9 goals.
Beating Barcelona's.
Well, Barcelona was 8 goals.
Yeah.
Beating Barcelona's the 8-2 record.
Don't worry, you guys still hold like the biggest loss in quarterfinals?
Knockouts. Oh my god. But yeah, this match was just the stat pad. I think Musiala had a masterclass. Kane was heavily involved. I think he got himself a poker as well. He becomes the best English goal scorer ever in the UEFA Champions League with 34 goals. Wait, with 34 goals has scored 53. Okay, I might have messed up right there. I'll have to take that out. But anyways, both of these players, masterclass. Overall, I think even the French kid, what's his name? Michael Olise. He comes on. scores 2 goals as well. It's just Bayern Munich in these phases of the Champions League, whether it's group stage or whatever you want to call this now, like league phase. I don't even know what to call it. They're gonna put up crazy numbers like this, and they're most likely not gonna lose in a situation like this. And I mean, Dinamo Zagreb isn't really a team to be scared of, and I mean, yeah, Bayern Munich just completely dominated. Although there was like a small moment, maybe even I have had thought when in the second half when Bayern Munich were up 3-0 already, Dinamo Zagreb got 2 goals kind of like back to back in the very first like 5-10 minutes of the match. But
Yeah,
then Bayern Munich woke up again. So
it kind of reminded me of that one Terminator movie where he's fighting back and he's kind of winning. Then like the Terminator just kind of like regains momentum and just it's over.
yeah,
And
Bayern Munich is literally the Terminator of the UEFA Champions League.
yeah, and it's just like 9-2. That's kind of a flex. I'm gonna be honest. Like that's they're showing what they have, because even the bench is fucking scoring. I mean, it's quite insane the way that they just they're showing Barcelona what they have and what they're bringing for the next matchup. And I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I've seen a lot of memes, and it was like, I don't know if you've seen that squinty meme where it was like when they squint their eyes and they see Barcelona, they open it and it's Dinamo Zagreb, and they're like
Yeah,
apologizing at the end. But
yeah.
it's just
I'm sure a lot of Barcelona fans, myself included, probably got a little PTSD watching that game for sure.
I mean, the thing is, this Bayern Munich team looks a little different than the one last year. I'm gonna be honest. They look a little different. They fixed up some problem that they had. Maybe it was internal, maybe it was the coach, but they look a little different, bro. I'm gonna be honest. They look a little different, and I don't know what company brings. I don't know how hard he's yelling at them because I know at the last club they were complaining, but I think they look a little different, bro. I'm gonna be honest. They look a little different.
Well, let's see how well they can put up in this league format of the Champions League. I mean, so far, I think in the league, in the Bundesliga, I'm gonna double check, but I think they might be top place. I mean, let me double check that real quick before I start spitting like things that aren't true. Yeah, they're first place right now, 9 points, 2 points above Dortmund. They're starting off very well in the Champions League. I mean, in the Bundesliga. So, and in the
they're probably first in the Champions League too, right?
I mean, probably. Yeah, by that scoreline, I'm pretty sure they're first in the Champions League, dog.
Yeah, 7 goals in favor, 1 game is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, not much really to take away from that game. Just Bayern Munich, Terminator of the Champions League for sure. Manchester City versus Inter Milan, a repeat of the 2022 Champions League final. Everyone was expecting this game to be the game of this first match day. I mean, I think it was an entertaining 0-0 for sure. One of the better 0-0s. But I mean, I at least wanted to see 1, maybe 2 goals. I think City definitely had the better chances to score, especially in the second half. Gundogan came on, Phil Foden came on. They had the opportunities to score 2, maybe 3 goals if they wanted to, but I think they just lacked a little bit of that clinical touch. Because Holland was very well neutralized by Acerbi.
I mean, Holland has 2 shots. They were both like, one was about like 6 inches from the goal. I mean, the goalie had already completely just stared at the ball. And I mean, the other one was a header on goal. And if you think about it, Holland doesn't get a lot of shots on goal in the Prem. He does. He gets 2 or 3 shots on goal, and they're usually in. Today, it's kind of like, he misses 2 shots, and all of a sudden now he was neutralized. But it's just like he doesn't get a lot of shots on goal either way. The term is just how clinical he is with those opportunities. I mean, there's been games where he touches the ball, 4 times and he scores 3, and it's just. But other than that, yeah, he was lacking clinicality, and so was the rest of the Man City. Because Gundogan had 2 headers on goal.
Yeah,
and then Bernardo Silva had a shot on goal, which he kind of like scuffs. It's like it was crossed back to him like in the middle of the field, and he kind of like scuffs it instead of. I don't know what he was trying to do, but it ends up being scuffed. And then Savinho was very creative, but couldn't. I mean, he's not a finisher. They didn't bring him a finisher. They brought him to create opportunities, and that's what he was doing. But I mean, there's not really much to say. Inter defended well.
I think that's the biggest takeaway. I think I really like the way Inter shaped up in this match. I think they knew what they were trying to get out of this match and just pretty much not lose and see what they can get on the counter.
Yeah,
Because against Man City, they're gonna have most of the ball, and I mean, you cannot allow them any space, and they made it very difficult for City to play for sure.
what I did like, which I seen them improve very well, is that when the City wingers would come in and look for that ball pass back towards the center defensive mids and the center mids, they were there neutralizing it. I mean, Rodri only had one shot. Rodri, which is not talked about enough, because Rodri from the outside of the box, when the rest, how would I say this, in tight games, when Rodri receives the ball at the top of the box, which usually happens because all the options are taken, he usually gets 2 to 3 shots per game. And this time he only had one shot, and it wasn't that hard because of the pressure which he received from the Inter Milan defense. Which, if you think about it, in 2023 was the only reason they lost to City, and they improved that factor. Maybe it's trauma, I don't know what it is, but I mean, Inter is scary defensively. I'm gonna be honest, scary defensively on the counter. They're not the scariest, but hey, look, they can go the rest of the Champions League without seeing City again. And if that happens, they go deep. I think they go deep.
And bro, you know what they say: defense wins you trophies, I think, and offense wins you games, or the other way around.
Offense wins you games, defense wins you trophies, and I think that's true, 100%. Because Inter could very well push most of these games to penalties, and if you know anything about Italian penalty takers, they're known for that.
Pretty consistent. There's no doubt. Overall, who do you think it's a bigger win for? City tying at home or Inter Milan tying at the Etihad?
No, it's definitely Inter's bigger win because one, it's a tie away, which is great, and then second, the opportunities that City created were definitely, how would I say it? City should have won if we're looking at this from a possession based chance created standpoint, and just the opportunities that were missed. Overall, City had a lot more.
Mhm.
So obviously, Inter is the team that gets the win in this case because one, they're away. Two, they weren't supposed to win this game, and they didn't, obviously. But
And then, like you said,
they
too,
were supposed to lose this game technically. On
paper.
on paper, they were technically supposed to lose this game. Most people thought they were going to lose. I thought they were going to lose. I mean, I know 99% of people that were watching this game was just wondering when the City even score.
And then, like you said, Inter will never have to see City again, at least in this.
In this format, exactly.
They're not gonna have to see them until maybe who knows how far they make it, but at least in this new format, they're not gonna have to see them right now.
And
so,
then, I mean, City could very well get knocked out by a team similar to their style, maybe Bayern Munich or maybe Real Madrid, where it's a little tighter. And if that happens, I think that's the best thing that could happen to Inter.
Definitely. And then the good thing for City, at least, is just not losing at home. They do have this record. They've extended their record of being the only English team in the UEFA Champions League with 32 games unbeaten at home. The only other English team that had a somewhat decent record in the Champions League was Arsenal with 24 games unbeaten at home. So I guess not horrible for both teams, for sure. Now, a game that was just, I guess you can say it was kind of dreadful to watch from a finishing standpoint. PSG Girona was just all over the place, specifically PSG, because I mean, they do not have a very consistent front three. Marco Asensio, Ousmane Dembele, and Bradley Barcola. Barcola has started off the season firing. I can't say that he's at fault for any um, lack of finishing in this matchup specifically. I think this is a match where Dembele should have came out with maybe 2, maybe 3 goals if he really wanted to. But bro, I mean, you already said this plenty of times. If he's not playing Barcelona, he's not going to perform.
Nah, he's not. But another thing I want to touch on, and a lot of people think I'm joking, but when I see PSG play without Mbappe, without Messi and Neymar, it's like I'm watching Montpellier, or I'm watching, I don't know. I mean, what other teams are there? There's Saint Etienne. It feels like that. It feels like a low level French team, and I don't know what it is, but and I'm not talking about the style of play, no, because France has a very nice style of play going forward. I'm talking about clinicality or creative in the final third, and I mean, it's just so bad.
Big ups to Girona though. They did hold their own. To be honest,
The thing
There's
is,
not a lot of expectations of them in this new Champions League format, given that their team was basically stripped apart, which is what happens to a lot of these small teams with, fantastic up and coming underdog seasons like they had last season.
yeah,
But fortunately, unfortunately, they were performing exceptionally well. Honestly, Gazzaniga, their goalkeeper, made at least like 3, 4 unbelievable saves in the match. But I guess the most traumatic part of this match is that he went from hero to villain in just a matter of seconds, bro. A ball coming on the left side, Nuno Mendes, he's a very pacey player. He's very physically, he's so different. He's so strong. He beats his player and he drills the ball into the box, into the 6-yard box. You think a keeper that has been having a wonderful game in Gazzaniga is able to, control it with no problem. But the ball just rolls through his arms, through his legs, between that little space where the keepers leave, when they're like kind of getting down, that little hole in between but their legs and their hands goes right through there, and it's pretty much wraps for Girona. It was an unfortunate goal to concede, given that they performed so well. Honestly, they did not deserve to lose that game. I think a draw would have been perfect for Girona, getting that first historical moment of UEFA Champions League lights. But it just didn't happen. PSG got a little lucky, and well, for most of the match, they were really unlucky in this moment of honestly just terrible goalkeeping. Costed Girona, but gave PSG those 3 points that they needed.
yeah, and that's completely what I refer to when I speak on this PSG team because this Girona isn't the team from last year where they're surprising everybody, getting fourth place in La Liga, and it's a strip Girona team. They sell Savinho, they sell the other one from that came from City. What's his name? Eddie Garcia,
I guess, yeah.
and
Well,
then it
I'm back on loan,
well he
basically.
came back on them, but the impact that he had at Girona was different.
So you said Savinho, Dovbik, the striker as well. He's gone. Aleix Garcia, the midfielder, he was their captain. He was gone as well. Went to Bayer Leverkusen. They just lost a lot of key players.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, and
and coach
it's
as well.
on paper once you see that you're like PSG has to win this 3-0, 3-1 maybe, and that's not what fucking happened. I mean, the thing is that PSG doesn't have
They don't have killers, bro.
they
They
don't have
don't have
players.
killers.
They don't have players in general anymore. I mean, Barcola is decent. Asensio is a historic player in terms of our generation.
Yeah.
Our generation is known for that those 3-4 years at Real Madrid. After that, he kind of just let's say it like how it is, but he just falls off. But other than that, it's nobody that I'm really afraid to play. Like
Yeah.
if I was Bayern Munich, even if I was I don't know who's the
I'm pretty sure
Atalanta.
they did not play like they were scared of this PSG team.
If I was Atalanta, if I was any mid tier team to big team, I wouldn't be afraid of PSG. I'd want to play PSG, even if it's
And
PSG at home.
like at the end of the day, I mean, they got the 3 points. That's what all that matters. I'm pretty sure Luis Enrique is just happy with 3 points. Definitely has to fix some things up if they want to go far in the Champions League. Um, but yeah, a team that is doing exceptionally well and that have been doing exceptionally well is Leverkusen. They faced off against Bayern, a Feyenoord team who they haven't gotten off to a good start in this new era. Now that Arne Slot's not there, Arne Slot obviously is now at Liverpool. Um, yeah, they haven't started well in the league, and then in this match they come out intense, and then a slight mistake from a midfielder just kind of ruins the whole flow of the match for Feyenoord because they were creating chances. Feyenoord had more of the ball. Leverkusen were patiently waiting for that moment to attack. The moment came. They punished them with 1, 2, 3 goals in the first half, and it was pretty much over by then. It was cruise control for Leverkusen. They hit the fourth goal in the second half, and yeah, it's pretty much all game over for Feyenoord.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the game and I just thought after that first goal, Feyenoord gets a couple of opportunities. They end up tying the game momentarily, but it was offside. And then I'm just like, if they're not able to finish, Bayer Leverkusen is gonna find that second one, and I think once they find that second one, it's that third one, that fourth one. And honestly, after that third one, I thought it was gonna be a historic ending, but thankfully it wasn't. Thankfully they were able to hold them to 4. But
like that was any better.
I mean, the way that Bayer Leverkusen was playing, the fluidity of it. I mean, I don't know if it's the third goal or the third or second goal, but I forgot the player, but he does kind of like this fake passes it.
Boniface, bro. He pulled up.
Fake pass.
Bro, he did the fucking Thierry Henry pass. That's what Thierry
Bro,
Henry
he
fucking art.
did the fucking, how would I say, that street pass once you're up 3-0, that futsal pass, and the fucking center back just kind of like looks at him, looks the ball go, and then fucking sees the ball go across, and I see the left back jogging back, and the other forward just coming to crash it in. I'm just like, what the fuck is this team doing right now?
They were
Like,
having fun. They were having fun with it, bro. And that's what this Bayer Leverkusen do. This is what Bayer Leverkusen does. They're a fun team to watch. They're, like you said, they're very fluid in attack. I mean, no, there's no specific roles in this team. It's just all out attack. And I mean, bro, that goal that you're talking about, Jeremy Frimpong, the right wing back, whatever you want to call him, he was the one that assisted the left back, Alejandro Grimaldo. So both fullbacks getting involved in this type of play. I mean, it's just a fluidity of football that is just beautiful to watch, honestly. And leads me to this question: do you feel that Bayer Leverkusen are the most impressive team in the UEFA Champions League, given this performance against Feyenoord? Because Feyenoord, at the end of the day, they're not an easy team to play against. They're not a Dinamo Zagreb, for example, that we saw with Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
So, do you think they were the most impressive team by far in the UEFA Champions League?
I think it is by far on terms of how I rank Feyenoord, and that I don't think that they're that bad of a team. And then I think it was the more, how would I say, the closest teams in terms of, how would I say, competitiveness. Like Feyenoord's a decent team. Bayer Leverkusen's a really good team. I thought it would have been closer. I thought it would have been like Bayer Leverkusen win 2-1 or 2-0. I wouldn't have said 4-0. I mean, if you would have told me 4-0, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But they win 4-0 on a team that I rank pretty not at their level, but not so much, under that huge disparity that it's Dinamo Zagreb and Bayern Munich.
Mm-hmm.
I see the Bayern Munich right here and Dinamo Zagreb right here. I would see Bayer Leverkusen, let's say, right here on the same level as Bayern Munich, and Feyenoord like right here in terms of just hand movements or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like it's not. I don't see that huge disparity where it's like, oh, 4-goal difference. I see like a 2-1, like I just said. But so in terms of my opinion, I think Bayer Leverkusen was the most impressive on taking out a motivated Feyenoord team 4-0. Because this isn't a team that's, how would I say, I know the Netherlands isn't a big league. I know that. But they've still been competitive. They've still had that team that comes in once every 5 years that's competitive, makes it to quarters, makes it to semis.
Yeah, I mean, just last season, PSV made it to round of 16. Well, they didn't they didn't do that well against Borussia Dortmund. But I mean, for the most part, at least these teams are able to compete, maybe get to the next round.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, cut out.
So going back to what I was saying, overall, do you think Bayer Leverkusen are the most impressive team in the UEFA Champions League? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Honestly, me too. I would take them, maybe not as title contenders.
No, they're definitely title contenders.
You think they're title contenders?
For sure.
I mean, we have to see their level of the caliber of opponents they're facing. Like you said, Feyenoord. I mean, they're a good team, but they're not the best team in Europe. I mean, they are still in the Netherlands. It's still a B tier team if you want to see it that way.
Let's look at the term title contender. A team that contends for the title.
What the fuck? Yeah, you're right.
Like, are you agreeing with me right now?
I mean that is
Yes or no?
that's
Yes
like
or no?
a
Yes
rounded
or no?
definition, for sure.
Yes or no?
All right. Well, I mean, you're not wrong. A title contending team is the title contender. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's it. Just yes, bro. Just
Then
yes.
any team that's in the Champions League, they're all title contenders. They're all contending for a title. Anyways, going to a
No, but I'm
team
just
who are
saying this.
true.
Look. Okay, look. They defend well. They attack well. They create a lot of opportunities, and they're able to put these opportunities away. What else do they need to be a title contender?
I just want to see him against an Atletico Madrid, a Barcelona, a
See,
Madrid.
now that's a you problem. You see,
What you
that's
mean, bro?
you need to do like some soul searching. I don't know what you need to do, but this is a title contending team
I mean, bro. I mean, if
because
we're
there's a okay. Look, out of City, Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich, which other team than Bayer Leverkusen is more complete than they are?
I don't. Hey, Bayer Leverkusen are a very complete team. I won't deny that, but they have to face better opponents. Because remember, and just a few months back when they played against Atalanta in the Europa League, they got smacked up 3-0, like as if they weren't on a record holding season. So when they are against serious adversity or serious pressure, this game, while it's an important match, there's not a lot of pressure. It's barely the first game of the match of match day one.
Okay, so in that Europa League, were they contenders?
They were contenders. They made it to the final, of course.
Right,
Yeah.
they were contenders. I'm not saying they're gonna win it, but they're definitely gonna be able to compete for it.
All right. I guess we'll agree to disagree on this one. But a team that definitely is contenders is Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. Atletico
No
Madrid,
way.
they did get their win. They got their win against Leipzig. Not convincing. It's in typical Cholo Simeone fashion, winning in the dying moments of the match. Benjamin Sesko opens up the scoring for Leipzig. Um, I mean, typical poacher's goal, to be honest. And he's freaking like 6'3", 6'2". So I mean, he's gonna beat all the center backs that are in Atletico Madrid's line. And then Griezmann just putting up a wonderful performance. Even Marco Rose, Leipzig's coach, said that it was incredible to watch Griezmann play, because when Griezmann is in his flow state, I guess you can call it in football, when he's in his flow state, he's one of the best attacking midfielders or tens, whatever position he plays, or eights, whatever. He's one of the best in the world, one of the most underrated attacking forwards, I think. And he got his goal. He got I think he got a shot off from his weak foot, tied the game, and then also got a cross from his weak foot into. I remember who scored the game. Jose Maria Jimenez, the Chema Jimenez, and yeah, pretty much wrapped up the game for Atleti. But it was a very difficult game from an Atleti standpoint. They're still not convincing me whatsoever.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, Atletico has had what would I say, not like they haven't had a hard time, but they've made themselves they put themselves in positions that gives them difficulty in matches.
Yeah, I think it's more so on them. They just kind of tend to shoot themselves in the foot, or just make games a little bit more complicated than they need to be, because
Oh yeah,
they have a stacked squad. Overall, they have a stacked squad, one of the better squads in the Champions League.
yeah. I mean, yes, for sure, one of the better squads in the Champions League. I mean, if you look at this team on paper, you're thinking title contenders for sure. But the fact of the matter is, they're not playing like a title contender. And but what I will give them is that RB Leipzig is not an easy team to beat. They
Yeah,
play very well. They create a lot of opportunities, and they were able to score on them. But RB Leipzig isn't a big team. It's not that team that you typically see every year in the Champions League. Well, in modern history, yes, but how would in like
historically, I get what you're
historically,
saying. Historically,
historically, it's not that team. Whereas Atleti in, I mean, from 2012 to now, I remember them seeing being every year.
hmm
But that has nothing to do with the present. But my thought of process is when Atletico Madrid sees these teams, that are in it constantly, when they play in Inter Milan, when they play a Madrid, when they play a Bayern Munich, even a Barcelona. I mean, Barcelona is they had a fluke of a match, but they can still put away this Atleti team 10 times out of 10, and they're not. How would I say? They're not the what they used to be. Barca isn't what they used to be, and I think this Barca team beats this Atleti team. I think any team in the top six right now beats Atletico, and I think they just need a lot of soul searching to do.
Yeah, because they're like I already mentioned, they're just not convincing me at all. They shouldn't be struggling against an opposition like Leipzig, even though they are a difficult opponent historically. I understand what you're saying. They are. I mean, they're not one of the most historic, one of the best teams in this competition. They should definitely be a little bit more convincing about their game. But the best part, I guess, if you're an Atletico Madrid fan, is getting the win. You want to see Griezmann finally stepping up a little bit. He's had a rocky start to the season, but he gets a goal, gets an assist, and it can provide him a little bit more confidence moving into the rest of the season. Which is very influential if you want to have a good season. If you're Atletico Madrid, now a team. Now moving forward to France, Monaco versus Barcelona. Shocking result, honestly, from Barcelona's standpoint. Barcelona were flying in La Liga. They got 5 wins in a row, and they were undefeated in the league. But then it comes to the Champions League, where they basically pick up where they left off. If we remember back playing against a French team as well in PSG, getting a red card early in the match, and pretty much kind of swings the pendulum all in one way, all in one favor, in PSG's favor back in that quarterfinal matchup. But same thing happens again. Another French team in Monaco. Like I was saying, it's just pretty much deja vu if you're a Barcelona team, bro. Definitely difficult times if you're a Barca fan for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be one of the saddest moments in Barcelona.
Maybe not history. I wouldn't say historic.
It's got to
I think
be.
they've had some doozy moments, bro. Some horrible moments for sure. But I mean, I guess given off of the hope that you've gained in this beginning of the season, I mean, you kind of expected them to do a little bit better. To be fair, against Monaco, they did lose 3-0 in the Joan Gamper match, which is like their preseason match, initiating the new season in the Camp Nou or Montjuic, their current stadium. And I mean, like I said, it was just the same shit that happened against PSG happens in this match. I think the main liability, the main talking point is the goalkeeper, Marc-Andre ter Stegen. I mean, he's an incredible goalkeeper. I don't think anyone can really doubt that. He's one of the top 10 goalkeepers in the world. He's still, I mean, just 2 seasons ago, he put up crazy numbers. He had like the most clean sheets defensively. Barcelona were putting up record-breaking numbers as well. But last season, we're extremely poor. This season, while he started off well, I mean, did not really cover himself in glory this match. I mean, that ball that he gave to Eric Garcia was basically just shooting Eric Garcia in the foot, bro. Like you set him up for failure. At that point, you have to call HR because that's harassment. Because like I don't know what he was trying to do in that position. He had options to his left, options to his right. He takes a little too long on the ball. He feeds it into Eric Garcia, who has a man putting pressure directly on him. And Eric Garcia, he's not the most technically gifted player. He's a solid player, but not. I mean, he's not Bernal. He's not a Casado or Pedri in that position. You would much rather want Casado or Pedri receiving that ball there, not Eric Garcia. But I mean, yeah, that kind of conditions the whole match for Barcelona. You're playing 10 men down for 80 minutes of the match. It's very difficult to basically run for an extra player. Everyone's pulling an extra 5-10% out of their body, which is just extremely difficult at these levels of competition, especially because Monaco right now they've gotten off to a very good start. That first goal I think was very well taken. Ter Stegen just kind of looked like a statue there, just left with no reaction. And then there was a little bit of a comeback from Barcelona. There were like periods in time where they had a little bit of control. I mean, given that they had 10 players, there were moments where they looked like it was just perfectly even. It was 11 versus 11. But I mean, overall, I mean, Monaco with the extra body, they took advantage of it, especially in the dying moments of the match. Lamine Yamal, another talking point. He gets his goal, 17 years old, finally scores in the Champions League. And I mean, he's still on this consistent run of scoring or assisting in every single match for Barcelona. So consistency is just in his nature at this point. And I mean, we did kind of talked about in the last podcast saying that he's one of the best right wingers in the world. I think just because they lost, I mean, what do you want him to do? Fucking put up a hat trick, 10 men down? Like, he's still 17 years old. You can't expect that much out of him. But what else can you come from conclusion from this match? The second goal, honestly, Ter Stegen's fault as well. Just weak goalkeeping. Just couldn't put a strong enough hand to keep that ball out. Question that I'm gonna leave for you, the fans, Tomas, for you as well. Is Ter Stegen going to be a problem for Barcelona later on in the season? In the Champions League specifically, he's played 85 matches for Barcelona. He's got a 99 goal scored on him. He's averaging more than a goal per game. Like, what is this guy saving, bro?
I mean, he was saving you guys for a minute, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, in that 2015 Champions League run, he was probably one of our better players. I mean, you need a world-class goalkeeper to win you trophies. Courtois has proved that plenty of times, one of the best. But it's just the truth is Marc-Andre Ter Stegen is not one of the world's best right now. I mean, it hasn't been in a good moment besides the season just 2 seasons ago. And I mean, once again, he's just a liability at the back, to be honest.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. The totality of the match was my thought process was okay. Hansi Flick has a man down. He's gonna be able to move his men tactically in a way which he was able to do with Bayern Munich, because what left me the impression of Hansi Flick and that Bayern Munich 2020 team was that they were so well coached by a coach who his tactics would benefit his team. He would play in the terms of how the match presented it unto himself. If they were down, he would switch things around. If they were up, they'd stay in the same way, or they would even switch things around to find
to find more goals.
Yeah, to defend well, but hit fast on the counter. With the players that he had in their prime at that point it was crazy how they were able to operate. So I thought maybe this Hansi Flick team, this Barcelona team that has Hansi Flick now, would be able to set up a tactic to where they maintain possession for long periods of time. They drain the clock. They're down a man, and just drain this clock, tie the game, get a point, get that result in a match that yes, you were supposed to win, but you under the circumstances you end up getting this point by going 0-0, and then they score, they tie again, and then Barcelona's caught high up the pitch on a through ball, which comes with the second goal, which yes, Ter Stegen dives early. I agree, but the thing is, this center forward should have never been in that position of being on a 1v1 against Ter Stegen in the first place.
Well, Kubarsi, I think he was dragged out. He was dragged out by Balogun, I want to say.
The thing is that you can't. You're a center back. Your main priority is to defend the goal, not go for the ball. The goal is behind you. The goal is always behind you. Your back behind you is always the goal. If the ball goes over you, it's over. Like as a center back in the center back position, you're honestly either the second to the last man to the ball or you're the last man to the ball. And if the ball goes over you, then your team's in trouble. And that's clearly what happened. I mean, I don't know why Kubarsi was dragged out, but as a center back, it's one of the most crucial positions where you have to maintain your composure. You need to stay in the back, you need to defend that. And I don't know what Hansi Flick's tactics were. Maybe he was going for the win. But with 10 men, you have to be a little bit more conservative on how you attack.
But I mean, to be fair, you kind of admitted. I mean, Ter Stegen did go down a little early. Ter Stegen could have done a little bit more in that opportunity. Firstly, and then, like I said, moving forward, I mean, how many times are we going to see this kind of performance from Ter Stegen? I'm sure Barca fans are probably thinking the same thing. I know a lot of Barcelona fans are they're worried and they're fed up because a performance like this from a goalkeeper, because you have to also keep in mind that their backline is pretty young. Cubarsí, 17 years old. Balde, 19, 20 years old. Iñigo Martinez and Jules Koundé are veterans, if you want to call them, experienced players. But if your goalkeeper isn't even that confident, coming out, playing with his feet, I mean, what kind of confidence are you giving to your younger players that are in front of you? Like I think it's gonna make it for a very difficult season if Ter Stegen doesn't pick up his form right away. Because it can't you can't wait. You can't wait for a goalkeeper to pick up his form. Okay, maybe mid-season, give him a chance. No, goalkeeper's got to perform from the first match.
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand. It's just that crucial position, goalkeeper, center back, any back line, but where you have to be crucial at all moments. You can't have an off game. If not, it will show. But then I also think about this Ter Stegen that for so many years defended Barcelona's badge. He's put up matches where he has incredible saves. And honestly, this is the first time I see Ter Stegen have a slow game like this, where I mean, I think he's being over criticized in terms of it's not completely on him because the style which was imposed towards the end was what left him in a vulnerable 1v1, which yes, he could have done more. And yes, I understand that a team like Barcelona deserves a world-class keeper, but it's not completely on him. It's not 100% on him. There could have been a different tactic style which would have been more conservative. The Barcelona's a little bit more back because they do have 10 players, but instead they use a system, and I'm repeating myself here, which pushes them up so high.
Yeah, high risk, high reward for sure.
High risk, high reward for sure, but it's like 10 players. Is that really somewhere to risk it?
Yeah, definitely not.
But I mean, I think Ter Stegen's gonna fix it up. He's a veteran keeper. He knows he fucked up. I know he's feeling bad. He's probably looking at the ceiling right now as we speak.
He's probably has his demons crawling up from under his bed right now. I don't know, but yeah, he definitely needs to. If Barcelona want to make a competitive run in Champions League, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, they are still in the 24th spot, even though losing. So you can have these kind of performances, especially very early. You can lose, that's fine. As long as you win your next 6-7 matches, should be good. So these next matches for Barcelona, they're going to be like finals for them. Ter Stegen definitely has to step up. A player that did step up was Lamine Yamal. He becomes the second youngest goal scorer in Champions League history, right behind. Would you be able to guess who's the first youngest goal scorer in Champions League history?
Mbappe.
Ansu Fati. And he actually came back from and then the third highest goal scorer in Champions League, or the third youngest goal scorer in Champions League history, played in this match as well for Monaco. His name is George. I might butcher this, but don't.
Where's Mbappe at?
Mbappe might be fourth in this list, to be honest. But George Elenekena, third youngest UEFA Champions League goal scorer in history. He scored last season with Royal Antwerp against Barcelona as well. So I think that's when he got that stat. So good for him. Yeah, pretty historical matchup, honestly. Overall, good win for Monaco. I think they definitely deserve it. They took advantage of being a man up, which you really need to do in a competition like this, especially against a team like Barcelona that were performing exceptionally well within their league so far. Barcelona, step it up. That's all I can really say. Ter Stegen, step it up. And then going to a game where the goalkeeper was just insane, where I think these reflexes I have not seen live probably ever, was Atalanta versus Arsenal. And really, there was a whole lot of nothing throughout the match. It was a 0-0 draw. But I think the most impressive part of this match was David Raya's his save, just completely saved Arsenal, to be honest, from losing against Atalanta. If there was a team that deserved to win, I think it was Atalanta. The way they at least had the opportunity to go up 1-0, and they got that penalty, and David Raya he dives, gets a great save, and then on that contra remate from Matteo Retegui, the Argentinian-born Italian international, I believe. Um, he comes back with the header, and I mean, just the way he gets up. This is like a typical goalkeeper save, right? Where they teach you as soon as you make that first save, you kind of like you maneuver yourself on the floor, like with your back and your butt. You get up, and then you make that second save. And I mean, it was just incredible to watch. To be honest, it was just those reflexes were cat-like, feline-like, whatever you want to call it. I mean, just overall, he saved Arsenal. To be honest,
Yeah, I was actually watching it at work, and it was kind of exciting to see, David Raya, because in recent history, I know him for fucking penalty saves. I mean, he saved Arsenal versus Porto, and then he did it in the penalty shootout as well, and then now he does it again. Not only just blocking the penalty, but making that save where the center forward's literally it's just him and the center forward,
hmm
and it's like he beats him again. I know that center forward's embarrassed. He's probably hiding in his room right now, but you can't teach that. I mean, you can develop it, but
that's
I
just
think
pure talent, bro.
I
That's
think
pure
that's just talent because the way how the quickness to how he gets up and makes the most adequate save as well. I mean, it's something that's definitely a lot of work. Definitely, definitely, David Raya deserves his props, and I mean, he might be in the top three best keepers for penalty saves right now.
On that note, do you feel like he's currently one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League?
I think
Maybe
he's
in the world. Like, I
top
mean,
five.
maybe the world might be kind of a long stretch there. I feel like Courtois is definitely number one. Who would put maybe like John Oblak two?
I put Jan Oblak two, and then three. I'll probably put. If we're speaking talent, I think three is Donnarumma. I think what Donnarumma lacks is and
Oh yeah,
footwork and just that's about it because he's pretty good at diving. He's pretty good at saves, but
stopping is
footwork,
incredible.
but footwork is a big one for me. So I'd put, in my opinion, I'd put Ederson third because I like John Oblak's footwork. I like Courtois' footwork. And I think that they're more talented than Ederson. And then I would put David Raya fourth.
Okay, how about Alisson from Liverpool?
Alisson, I think Alisson had a very good moment in 2019 to 2022. Now I think since he's a bit older, we don't see him make those crazy saves anymore, but we still see that crazy footwork that he has at Liverpool.
Hmm.
So I would put him five.
So I feel
The
like that's like a little bit of a mix between like the two Brazilians, Ederson and Alisson for sure. They could be within like third and fifth. David Raya can try to squeeze himself somewhere in there. Courtois definitely number one. Oblak, I would put him in there. Maybe not off of recent form. I mean, he's been conceding a lot of goals recently, but that's not really on him. That's more so on Atleti's back
I mean,
line.
it's just the defense that Atleti has. It's not the
They're not,
back line that he had when he first got there.
yeah, for sure. But on pure shot stopping ability, I think John Oblak, he's incredible for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe we can take him out of that list. Somewhere between those four for sure, between um, Alisson, um, who's the Man City keeper again?
Stopping ability is definitely Courtois first. Donnarumma, how would I say? I think Allison, no. Donnarumma second, Allison third. If we're just like shot stopping ability and natural keeper talent where it's like, use your hands and everything. But if it's footwork, that's where Ederson slips in. That's where Raya slips in.
Yeah,
That's where Allison might be top two.
and I think what makes this whole save, this whole like the topic of this save crazier is the fact that this is the second double save in a row because he did the same thing against was it in a row? Second double save this season. He also did something similar against Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, yeah. I know
It wasn't in a row specifically, but
it was Prem.
Yeah. So I mean, just incredible reflexes, and I think he's definitely saving Liverpool so far this season. But overall, I know we kind of dragged things on a little bit, but thank you if you guys made it this far. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff down below. I hope your small creators blow up because we're trying to make 2020 26. And yeah, I mean, Tomas, thank you for hopping on. I appreciate you. I know it's a little late, but I really do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Thank you.